click like and subscribe right here with this button. And if you're watching live, watching the replay, let me know with hashtag replay. If you're watching live, watching from anywhere, just say hey. Let me know in the comments any of your social media marketing questions before I get into the topic for today. So today I want to give you guys 3 strategies that you can implement literally today on how you can be more visible on social media by being on more platforms with it taking actually less time than what you're taking right now. So if you guys are only on like one social, I want you guys to let me know in the comments how many social media platforms you're on right now. If it's like 1, maybe 2, maybe you're like going all in on Instagram because somebody told you like that was the thing to do. Let me know in the comments. But I want to tell you guys right now, I'm just going to keep it real with you, that it is a really, really bad social media marketing strategy if you were only on Instagram, because it is a time sensitive platform and your content, which means your content literally dies after, if you post it in the story, it dies 24 hours later. If you post it in the feed, 3% of your following is seeing your content. And not only that, your post is dead after 30 minutes in the algorithm. So that's why I always preach social media marketing search engines. The 4 are YouTube, Pinterest, blogging, and podcasting. So today I want to give you guys 3 strategies you can literally start implementing today, and I highly recommend that you do, so you spend less time staring at the phone screen or the computer screen and more time living your life, growing your business, making money, like growing the business of your dreams, like literally what I just said. I'm going to give you those 3 strategies. So the first one is documenting, not creating. So a prime example would be my car rants. Like, you guys see how I'm in the car. Like, the reason why the car rant started was because when I was first taught to do live streams, I was taught to share it to like 500,000 Facebook groups, like sit in front of a computer, like be like all prim and proper, like behind the screen, and have this like all these notes written out. And I'm the type of person where like, I already know what I know. Like, I don't have notes on live streams unless like sometimes I write the question on a parking ticket because I forget. Like today I wrote the question on, I don't even know what this paper is. I write the questions on a piece of paper because like I have squirrel brain. So I'm going to forget what the question is. But besides that, I don't need notes, because if you know what you're talking about, you don't need notes for a live stream. So I had this extra 30 minutes before CrossFit, and I go to CrossFit at noon, which all of you guys know. And I was like, how can I do something with those 30 minutes besides just like listening to a podcast or like reading a book, whatever. And that's how the car rant was born, because it was like, you know what? I can literally document and help you guys out at the same time just by turning on a Facebook Live and pressing live, right? And I'm documenting my journey at the same time. So when you guys see, like when I start my new YouTube channel, when I book a conference, when I have a speaking gig, or like all of these things, you guys are along with me for the ride because I do a live stream every single weekday. So there is so much power now in documenting your life over creating content, because people are quite honestly so sick of the fluff that's online. They're sick of like curated content, like the Kim Kardashian content with the Oprah Winfrey scripts. Like they just are so done with all of this stuff, because it's like, okay, what is real and what is not? And honestly, there's nothing more real than pressing live and showing up exactly how you are. Like, this is how I look. There's no like, you guys are seeing me, no filter. Like, this is a live stream. This is how I am. So documenting is an amazing way to free up time in your day, because when you document your life, you don't care about the filter. You don't care about like a script. You don't need notes. It's just kind of like you press live, you say what you need to say. It comes from experience and the knowledge in your brain, and then you're done. So that frees up hours of your time already, because think about it. Think about how many hours you spend maybe curating like the perfect script with the perfect copy and the perfect post just to push it into a Facebook group, and you hear crickets. Like, it's like maybe sometimes you get 1 like, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get 30, but where does that end up taking you? Most of the time it takes you nowhere. So when you document your journey on a search engine, YouTube, Pinterest, blogging, podcasting, that content lives on forever. And it's unscripted. So you just say what you want to say and allow yourself to mess up. I think that's like the number one thing people fear when it comes to documenting over creating is like, what if I mess up? What if I forget? What if I don't know what I want to say? Guys, I remember like when I spoke at LeadsCon, the first slide, I talked about influencer marketing, and the first slide was literally, what is an influencer? And I've been an influencer for 8 years, and I was like, oh, what is an influencer? Like, you're allowed to mess up, but it's like, it's always funny too that like when we mess up, there have been times like there have been multiple live streams where I'm like, oh my gosh, that part probably sounded so dumb. And then I go back and it doesn't even look like that I messed up. It's always in our heads, guys. Like whenever we think we mess up, it's not nearly as bad as what actually happened in real life. Hey Adolfo, how are you? If you guys are watching now, say hey and chime in whenever, if you love these tips or whatever. So the first one is document, don't create. So what that means is document your life and do less perfection of creating, because people want to see the real you anyways. And this can also relate to Instagram story. Like, show people what you're up to, show people what you're eating, what your favorite things are, like your favorite movies, or what you're doing, what you're wearing, where you're going. Like, that's what people want to know. They want to be along for the ride. They don't want to see the perfect script every single time that you show up, because to be quite frank, nobody relates to perfection. So the second tip kind of goes with documenting and don't create. And the second tip that I have for you guys is repurposing content. Repurposing content is probably my number one favorite thing to do to save time on social media. It literally, like, guys, I am everywhere on social media. I'm going to try to name all the platforms that I'm on. This Facebook group, the Vibe Tribe, started my new YouTube channel, which I repurpose that content. I'll tell you guys how I repurpose after I go through all of my Facebook groups. Vibe Tribe Facebook group, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and then I'm going to repurpose stuff onto a blog once I start that. Oh, I think there's another one that I forgot. I don't know. There's a lot. Like, I'm on a lot of platforms, okay? And like, you probably think about that and you're like, wow, that's such a time waster, or like, I don't have that much time in the day, et cetera, et cetera. But the way that you can be on multiple platforms without it being less stressful is by creating one long form piece of content and then distributing that long piece of content across all of your other social media channels. So what that means is, so this is an example. So what I do, I'm going to tell you guys what I do to repurpose content. What I do is I do my daily live streams. Hey, here I am. This is me. And what I do after that is I will download this video. Okay. And while that's downloading, I will screenshot or screen record for 15 seconds and post it on my Instagram story. And since I have the swipe up feature on Instagram, I will direct people either to my YouTube video or to this Facebook group. So when I upload it onto my Instagram story, I'll be like, hey, like I just did this training on 3 easy ways to save time on social media. Swipe up if you want to watch it. They are directed to this Facebook group. I'm downloading this video, posting the same exact video that I'm doing right now. I just create a thumbnail and I put that onto YouTube. And when I'm on my Facebook group, because I'm a social media marketing consultant, I love social media, I'm an influencer, like I live, breathe social media because I quite frankly do it every single day. I'm a practitioner in my craft. So when I post onto this Facebook group, I usually do a tip in the morning, which can be like one of my quotes that I make for Instagram, which I also post on my Instagram story, or I just do a social media tip tip that I either write in here or I'll write it on Twitter. So that takes me literally like 15 seconds. It's just like a thought, like kind of like my live streams. It's just like a thought that comes in my head. Write it down, press submit. Okay. So depending on the platform that I write it on, let's just say I write it on Twitter. I'll write my tweet where it's like a social media tip of the day. I will screenshot that and I will post it into this Facebook group. I will do the same thing, post that same exact thing onto LinkedIn. Take that same post on LinkedIn and I will post it on the Facebook page. Now, the only thing that you need to take note of when you do this is when you repurpose content, make sure that you're targeting the end user psychology with the format and what you're saying on the person on that platform. So for example, if I am sharing a piece of content from this Facebook group over to LinkedIn, a lot of the people that I'm connected with are high profile CEOs on LinkedIn. So I need to tailor, it can be the same piece of content, but I want to make sure the language that I'm using is speaking to the people that are on LinkedIn. Does that make sense? Let me know if this is making sense in the comments. So then with Pinterest, that I just do the same thing. I create pins that lead, like today I created a pin that led to my YouTube video, which was my Facebook live stream. So it's like really that simple. Like if you, it's kind of like you want your social media to be almost like this like circle, which other people think like it's a funnel essentially. So like you don't want like to lead someone somewhere and then it stops. Okay. So if I lead them from my YouTube channel, I want to take them, if they watch the YouTube channel, and be like, hey, if you like me, like check out my Instagram, check out my Facebook group, check out my website, check out my products and my services. Like every social media platform should be the beginning of your funnel. Okay. So make sure that you want to be on all of these different social media platforms, because if you're not, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, especially if you're not on a search engine, which is one of the biggest reasons why I started repurposing the content from this Facebook group onto YouTube, was because as much as I love doing the live streams in here, but at the end of the day, because Facebook, their algorithm only reaches, or my video will only reach 3% of the people in this Facebook group, and it's a private Facebook group, my content is just going dunzos after like a day or two. So that's just the reality of it. So I was like, why am I sitting on all of this amazing content that's just sitting in my Facebook group? And guys, this relates to you guys as well. If you have all this amazing content on your Instagram and your Facebook, and like just because you post something once doesn't mean people saw it, right? And there's a highly likely chance that if you posted it on Instagram or Facebook that they didn't see it. And there's even more of a likelier chance that no one saw it if there's only one like on it, right? So don't be afraid to repurpose that content, especially, here's another good example for repurposing content. Take your Instagram post and start turning that into a blog, okay? If you are creating valuable content, that's the caveat. Like if your content is just kind of like a witty one-liner, then you're not going to have anything to work with. Like I'm talking about for people, entrepreneurs that create valuable content online. If you're creating valuable content online, you need to circulate that content across multiple platforms, okay? Because your ideal client is out there, but like you're creating that friction. I've had so many people that, another reason why I started the YouTube channel was because I had so many entrepreneurs that followed me on Instagram, and they're like, I want to watch your videos, but I don't have Facebook. And I was like, fuck, like that's like, that hit me hard. Like I was like, this content is so amazing. And for me, like, it was just like easier. Like I was like, oh, I have a top rated Facebook group, so I'm going to push the content in here. But when I was getting multiple messages where people were like, I want to see your videos, but I don't have Facebook, I was like, that's real. Like it is real, guys, that people, just because you're on a platform doesn't mean your ideal client is on the same platform as you, but they need your help, but they want to see your content because they want to grow the know, like, and trust factor. So that's especially important for Instagram. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs in here where they are only focusing on Instagram and they're only on Instagram, which is probably the worst thing that you can do with your content marketing strategy. And I don't know who ever told you that that was the only thing you needed to do. I posted a quote that I made today where it was like, this is so true. Like, I'm like, when I wrote that quote, I was like, this is so fucking true. And it was like, you know, the people that only tell you, I literally wrote this quote and I already forget it. It was like, the people that tell you like to be lazy tell you that because they don't want to feel guilty when you start doing more work than they do. It was along those lines. And it's so true. If somebody tells you that you don't need to do any more than XYZ amount a day, they're just as lazy as you are. That's just facts, okay? Like, when I started my Facebook group and it started becoming pretty popular, I want to say that this was like 8 months ago. It was like growing really rapidly, and I was like, do I need to like keep updating it as much? And somebody told me no. And when I stopped updating it, I was like, this feels weird. Like I just grew this group and it's like amazing. This was like 8 months ago. This was a while ago. even though I didn't have this group for that long. I've only had it for like a year. So, I was like, do I still need to like update it more since it's growing organically? Like people are seeing me through the Facebook search and through like blogs that I've been mentioned in and et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, no, you're fine. You just need to update it once a week. And I like was like, no, like that's weird. You know what I mean? Like when you grow a group, when you grow a community, when you become an influencer, when you become that source of expert help for other people, you don't get to stop just because you reach a certain amount of number. That's like the biggest myth, and I can make that another live stream. That's like the biggest myth I've ever like seen or heard people say, is that like when you grow, let's just say Instagram, everybody wants 10K because they want to swipe up, but everyone thinks that like once they hit 10K, they don't have to keep growing their Instagram. And it's like, it's not about growing a number. It's about educating your community on the expert value that you have. Like, so many people are worried about the number, where it's like, no, give your value and then the number will come if your value is good enough. Does that make sense? So, Adolphus is, the quote that I said, nobody relates to perfection. I effing love that. I'm so happy that you love that. It's so true. But like, we're like still in this, I see like that the bubble is starting to kind of burst, but like the Kim Kardashian era where it's like everybody just wants to stage perfection, where it's like the long curated copy that, newsflash, probably somebody else wrote for them. I don't know if anyone's ever heard or thought of that, but that is very, very, very like, that's like an actual thing. Like people hire other people to write their Facebook posts for them. Curated copy, edited picture. They never show up on live streams. They don't, because they can't, because it's like they created this facade and they like quite literally cannot show up on a live stream. That is why. So that's why if you show up on live streams, like you're already leaps and bounds ahead of people, because you're doing something that the majority of people will not do. That goes for any social media platform. If you're willing to create one more platform and share your voice on one more platform, it doesn't have to be hard. That's why I'm sharing these tips. The first one was document, don't create. For example, get on a live stream, no script, no edits. Here I am, no notes. Like I'm looking at you guys like while I'm talking, like no notes. Okay. It's unscripted. Document, don't create, and then repurposing content. Repurposing content literally has saved so many hours in my day. And like, but when I didn't used to repurpose content and I started doing it, I was like, wow, like I am saving so much time in my day. And if you just hopped on now, I went through like kind of like what I did, like the web that I use. But for a long story short, repurposing content, what you want to do is you want to start with your longest form of content, which typically is a video, live stream, maybe like a podcast that you did, something that's typically around like 5+ minutes long. And then from there, you can start pulling out parts from the video, whether that's a screenshot or you can do a screenshot to share on your Instagram story, a screen recording that you can share on an Instagram story. You can pull out quotes that like people like in the comments. Like Adolphus says, nobody relates to perfection. I can literally pull that out, make that a quote, and I know other people are going to like it because he commented that. Does that make sense for you guys? So when you do that, you can pull, I do that a lot. After I do a live stream, I'll see what you guys write in the comments, and then I'll make that Twitter, like, you know how I told you guys how I like write a quote on Twitter? That's what I do. I pull that from my live streams and then I'll reshare it around to LinkedIn. I'll share it to my Facebook business page. I'll share it to this group, and that's like it's like the cycle, okay? And that's when it becomes really easy. It's like when you just take the time to do like a quick live stream that doesn't take a lot of time out of your day. And I was telling you guys this yesterday when I said my biggest fear with starting YouTube was like, oh my gosh, this is what I thought. I thought I had to have like all of the editing features in. I thought that I had to like, you know, spend hours editing videos. And like just the thought of doing that, I was like, I don't want to do that because it's going to waste my time. Guys, literally on YouTube, it is taking me 15 minutes to upload a post. How? Because I am I'm taking this video, downloading it, putting it onto YouTube, applying SEO, applying all the descriptions, like created the thumbnail, done. It is so quick, so easy, just because I'm repurposing content. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to make a YouTube show now. Like, if that happens in the future, that's great, that's amazing, and that's what it is. But right now, I don't want to. I just know that I'm creating these videos that have so much valuable content in them, and that I'm just shooting myself in the foot by not essentially making it public, if that makes sense, because of the Facebook algorithm. Facebook and Instagram are not search engines. They have search capabilities, but that only works if you are a celebrity, if you have a high member Facebook group, if you have a high page, whatever, or if, like literally said, if you're a celebrity, like if people search for your name and you pop up. That's like, it has search engine capabilities, but it is not a search engine. So when your post is dead after 20 minutes, especially if no one likes it, like, it depends, like, engagement keeps your posts alive, but at the end of the day, your post really isn't lasting for longer than a couple hours. That's just how it is. And then the sad part about it is that, like, once it's dead, it is literally dead. It's in the Facebook black hole. There is no way people are going to find your video. But if you put this live stream, these videos on a search engine, YouTube, people can search for that all the time if you just learn SEO, which is really, really simple. So the first thing that I said, the first tip was document, don't create. The second tip was repurposing content from long form, and then like go from big to small. That's easier. Like, don't start with a quote and then be like, okay, how am I going to make something long? How am I going to make a YouTube video out of that? Like XYZ. It's like, find the topic, make the video, and then pull from there. That's when it becomes really easy. Okay. And the third thing that's going to make social media less time consuming for you is social sharing. Okay. So what this means is this kind of like repurposing content, but I'm talking about the buttons that are already embedded on the content that you create on these platforms. So what does that mean? When you post any sort of content on these social media websites, you'll see where it says, usually it's like a share button, which is like typically what it is. It'll say like, comment, or share. Okay. When you share it, you can easily, with one click, share it to other platforms. Every time I post a Pinterest pin, I share it to Twitter, because I'm just like, why not? Right? Like, I add a couple hashtags and I'm like, there you go, Twitter, like, have fun with it. And that's how I've been getting more followers. It's because people on Twitter are also searching through the hashtags what I'm posting about. But then they're led to my Pinterest. And that took me one click, which is 1 second. I didn't have to recreate another post. I didn't have to do anything. I use the social sharing icons that are already embedded onto posts. So you can do the same thing with Instagram. You can add your posts to your stories. You can copy the link. You can share it to your Facebook page. You can take your Facebook live streams. You can share it into other Facebook groups if they allow it. You can, I don't know, like there, and it's not just Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. It's like Twitter, there's Facebook Messenger, there's a Facebook business page. There's a lot of, and I think there's actually email too, which is cool. So always, like, don't ever be afraid to use the social sharing buttons already embedded onto posts, because that's probably the easiest way. Like, if you're like scrapping for, if you have like no time whatsoever and you're like, oh, I only have 1 second in my day, click that share button, share it somewhere else, and just kind of like get it on another platform. And so you know that it's like, okay, not just this audience with one like is seeing this content that I essentially took, more than 10 minutes to create. Like, that's another thing too. It's like, I said this in like a couple videos ago, where I was like, some of you guys are only focusing on platforms where it takes you about double the amount of time to make content than it does for how long that it lasts in the newsfeed. So what I mean by that is, a lot of you, like, if you have this piece of content, right? If you're not documenting and creating, or if you're not documenting and just creating, so you're going out there, you're like having the photo shoot, you're creating the content, XYZ 1, 2, 3, but you're like, that takes you like hours to do. Okay. And then you're taking that content and then you're only pushing it on time sensitive platforms like Facebook and Instagram. And you're not using ads. and you're not a celebrity. So what does that mean? That means that your content is only being seen by 3% of your following and it dies after 30 minutes. Meaning, if you actually think about this, you just spent hours creating that post and probably money too. Like if you have copywriters or if you have somebody editing your pictures, etc., and it doesn't even last. So it's like, what is your actual return on investment? That's what I want you guys to think about. So that's why repurposing content is so major, because when you can take that same content, but it's like, expand your reach, like expand your audience. Like why are like a lot of people just have this mindset where it's like, oh my gosh, I like can only go all in on Instagram right now because I want to be an Instagram influencer like right now. And it's like, to be really honest, like a lot of Instagram influencers were influencers on other platforms, and that's how they grew their influence on Instagram. Okay, so I'm just like really passionate about you guys not like focusing only on one channel, because that really is going to kick yourself in the foot or stab yourself in the foot or whatever that thing's called. You're just stabbing yourself in the foot, okay? Because it was like the example that I used earlier where it was like I kept posting these videos into this Facebook group and I would always do the screen recording and post it on my Instagram story. That's a way that I love repurposing my content and letting other people know that I created this video. But the problem was that I was getting so many messages from other entrepreneurs and they were like, I really would love to see that video because I need that help, but I don't have a Facebook account. And I was like, damn, like I'm hurting myself. I'm hurting them because they're not becoming successful, but it's like, I didn't mean to say hurting myself. I'm limiting myself and the amount of people that I can reach by only staying in my zone of genius, or like what feels comfortable for me right now. So we need to remember that if our content is quite literally not searchable on a search engine, no one can find us, okay? That's just like straight facts. If people go to a Google search engine for their problem, which 99.9% of all of us that are watching this video have done in our lives, if there's a problem in your life and you want an answer fast, where are you going for that answer? You're going to Google, okay? If you're looking for reviews, if you're looking for like, comparisons of something, like a blog post or like a video or whatever, you're going to Google. That's what you're doing. So if your content is not searchable on the Google search engine, you're not going to be found. That's like real talk. So again, my favorite 4 social media search engines: Pinterest, your images show on the image section and on links; YouTube, because guess who owns YouTube? Google. Pinterest, YouTube, podcasting, and blogging, which is a website. Okay. So let's see. Richie says, LOL, it's like a content graveyard, LOL. Yeah, it really is. I think, yeah, Facebook and Instagram, the content graveyard. It is. And that's what's really sad is like, also what a lot of people do is they'll judge how good they are or how valuable their content is based upon the amount of followers or likes that they have. When in reality, that has nothing to do with it. You probably like your value is not based, well, on a time-sensitive platform, it actually is based on the amount of likes and comments that you get. But on a search engine, it's value and relevancy based. So if it's relevant to what the person is searching for, your content is showing up regardless about how many subscribers you have, how many followers you have. I just showed you guys, I uploaded my first YouTube video and I was ranking number 3, okay? The first one had like 87,000 views. The second one had like 100-something thousand views and mine had like 5. I mean, it has more now, but it had 5 views and it ranked number 3 because it's relevance based, okay? What I'm telling you guys is because I'm a practitioner in what I do, so everything that I say is like, this is it. I'm not making this shit up. Like I did that post earlier and I did a screenshot. So if you guys want to see that picture, go back into this Facebook group. I took a screenshot of it. Search engines are relevance based. If you provide the information to them and it's relevant to what your ideal client is searching for, your information is going to pop up. The opposite is true for Instagram and Facebook. Instagram and Facebook want you to pay to play for advertising in order to be seen, which means if you want to show up, you need to pay them to be relevant to the people that want your information. So that's a whole nother different rant. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you guys are watching now, let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I'm just going to wrap this up. So the 3 strategies that I gave you guys for not having social media take up all damn day, and you just like want to be everywhere on social media, but you don't want it to take all day. I'm telling you right now, it does not take all day. Not even close. But you have to be smart about it. And these are the 3 tips that I gave. 1, document, don't create. What does that mean? Document your journey. I'm in the car, okay? I'm not like propped up, prim and proper with my hair done and tiara and ball gown doing a live stream. I am in my car because I'm going to CrossFit in 25 minutes, right? I'm documenting by being anywhere that I choose and just hopping on when I can, okay? Document your life and don't do the picture perfect creation, like whatever. Just make sure that the audio is great if you're doing a video and like people can see you clearly and you're fine, okay? Same for a picture. You need to have like aesthetically pleasing pictures. Like don't do the document, don't create, but then have like a blurry photo and and it's like a picture of like a rock. It's like no one wants to see that, okay? So you can still document and create your life and still take amazing pictures, but it doesn't have to be like a stage photo shoot, I guess is what I'm saying. And it also doesn't have to be a stage video shoot. The second tip that I gave you was repurpose your content. Repurposing is how you can use social media and be on every single platform there is known to man, and it literally doesn't take that much of your time. And this is how you do that. You start with your longest form piece of content, which is usually a video, a live stream, or it can even be podcast audio, okay? It's just audio and video where you're typically talking about what the topic you want to talk about, okay? I highly recommend that you do a live stream because then you can strip the audio if you want into a podcast. But if you just start with audio, you're not going to have video to make it. I mean, I guess you could like kind of make like a lyrics video if you wanted for YouTube. Like you don't technically need to show up, but I know a lot of people relate to you more if you show up on live streams. But if you're not comfortable yet with doing live streams, you can totally do a pre-recorded video, okay? So when you do that, you start with your longest form piece of content and then you strip it down from there. Pull quotes from what people say in the comments, okay? If no one comments, you'll know what you like. You'll surprise yourself when you go on live streams with what you say. Trust me. Like you'll replay it back and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. Like I like what I said. I'm pulling that out, okay? And you can create quotes. You can create, or you can do screenshots. You can do screen recordings. That's what I always do. Every time I'm done this live stream, I do a 15-second screen recording. Oh, I hit myself in that. Great. That's the beauty of a live stream. I do a screen recording and I essentially create an ad for Instagram story. And I'm like, hey, I just did this video. Like if you want to check it out, swipe up. If you don't have swipe up, be like, hey, DM me for the link or XYZ, whatever you want to do. And then from there, that's how you can pull different pieces of the long form video and then just like literally spread it out across all the platforms. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, business page, Facebook group, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm on so many, I can't even remember how many I've been on. But you guys get what I'm saying. And I went through that earlier in the video if you're just hopping on now. And lastly, the last one is social sharing. The social sharing icons. I think this is like the most overlooked one and probably like the easiest out of the 3 that you could literally implement like right now. And what you do is you just share it by using the buttons that are already embedded on the post. So what I love doing is every time I make a Pinterest pin, I click the share button and I have options to share it to Facebook Messenger, my Twitter page, my Facebook business page, LinkedIn, my email. I can copy the link. There's all these options and I always just push it onto Twitter because I'm like, whatever, like I literally like Twitter is one of those platforms that I just like shove everything to because people are either searching on it or they're tweeting for themselves. So I'm like, all right, I'll just like shove it onto Twitter and whatever, that's where it is. But then that creates exposure for my business, because then I like automatically get notifications for people liking my tweet, retweeting it, or they even follow me. So it's amazing. And it literally took me 1 second, but I'm increasing my exposure just by clicking share and clicking the Twitter button. That's it, okay? And a lot of these social sharing buttons are on a lot of platforms. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Just click share it around wherever you can, wherever it's allowed. And why not? That's what I always think. It's like, why not? Because I always have like another question that I get a lot is like, you know, is this platform relevant? Should I update it consistently? Like like da 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 da. And I'm just like, why not? Like if it takes 1 second, why not? You know what I mean? Like if it took like 5 hours, then I would probably be like, okay, then you can look into it a little bit more. But if it only takes 1 second and you're already on the platform, why not? Right? So, yeah, that's all that I had to say for today. So I just went over the 3. So if you guys have any questions about what I said, watching now, watching the replay, watching on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe right here. And if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions about what I said, or you want me to elaborate a little bit more about what I'm talking about. And if you guys have any questions related to social media marketing, whether that's Pinterest, YouTube, I'm like all these like now insider YouTube nuggets because I'm on YouTube, like other things that you don't read on blogs, which is like kind of fun. So Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook groups, growing a Facebook group, Instagram, Pinterest, you name it. Let me know in the comments because I would love to answer your questions. And your question could quite literally be the topic anonymously for the next live stream. Mark says, have a great weekend. You too, Mark. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys on, it's Friday. So I'll see you guys Monday on the next live stream. Bye, guys. Have an amazing weekend.